Senator Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Clayton, again, nice to see you. Last year, initial coin offerings raised about $4 billion globally. You've testified that SEC is focused on policing these transactions to protect investors. How much of that $4 billion was raised in the U.S.?
It's not clear. It's hard to get a number on that because this has been conducted on largely an unregulated basis. But I imagine, Senator, a significant enough portion where we should be paying attention.
And my understanding is during the last few months, the SEC has taken 4 enforcement actions targeting coin offers for serious violations of law. I mean, that speaks volumes about the work that the challenges in front of you. The chairman, in response to the chair's question, you both talked, leading with you, Chair Clayton, about agencies working together and the importance of that on this and other issues. Your testimony highlights cooperation between the SEC and CFTC, Chair Clayton, regulating Bitcoin and other virtual currencies. It doesn't mention any cooperation with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Hundreds of consumers have filed complaints with the Bureau about virtual currencies. How have you been coordinating your work specifically on this, but in other areas too with CFPB?
On this area, largely through the FSOC. At the FSOC, I believe I have made it very clear my views in this area, and that this is an area that we should all be on the lookout with regard to from each of our perspectives. The CFPB is a member of FSOC, and they have heard my comments there. On an enforcement perspective, we're in the securities area. We don't see the CFPB on the securities side of this. I'm not aware of any direct coordination on a particular enforcement action, but I could check on that.
Okay. In the past few months, Deutsche Bank, Credit Suisse, UBS, HSBC have been fined over $300 million by other regulators for various forms of market manipulation. But SEC has been quiet under your watch. One study by a Georgetown law professor found that SEC has, quote, virtually stopped enforcement actions against large entities, often referred to as Wall Street firms. How do we have confidence, Mr. Chairman, that the SEC is willing to hold Wall Street accountable when the trend in penalties and actions is going the wrong way?
Yeah, I actually saw that. I saw that report. It probably doesn't come as a surprise to you that someone sent it to me. I found it annoying, to be honest, because it didn't reflect the fact that the gestation period for the cases we bring is roughly 22 to 24 months. So any type of statistics, necessarily have a latency period to them. Our enforcement division put out a report that talks about the numbers in a comprehensive way. I'm happy with that report. I'm also confident that the people who are in our enforcement division and leading it, many of them former federal prosecutors, 2 of them heads of the Securities Task Force in the Southern District of New York, former heads, are pursuing our securities laws vigorously. I have no doubt. They come to work every day, and they have my full confidence.
Well, I hear you say that, and I believe you when you say that. I remember the last SEC, and it wasn't you, the last SEC under a Republican president, how they were asleep at the switch. So as the chair of the governor of the Richmond Federal Reserve used to tell me, watch us and let us know you're watching us. But I'm further troubled by a statement by one of the SEC's enforcement co-directors last fall that SEC might lose 100 of its enforcement staff by not replacing those who leave. Compared to 2016 figures, this would reflect a 7% reduction in enforcement headcount. So how are you going to stay on top of developments in virtual currencies and the other enforcement, all the other areas that we just talked about, and to be able to fight traditional misconduct? How are you going to do that when you're not replacing them, if in fact that's the case?
That is, Senator Brown, personnel is my biggest challenge at the moment. And we have a hiring freeze as a result of natural increases in costs, a hiring freeze, and people retiring or taking other jobs. It reduces the size of the workforce at the SEC. I could use more people in enforcement. I could use more people in trading and markets. Those are the two areas where I think the American people would get the greatest return for additional bodies.
So when you come in front of us, and I appreciate your candor, when you come in front of us and tell us that you're having trouble filling those jobs and
No trouble. I'm not. I just can't.
well, okay, I guess trouble that way. All right, because of the freeze. Isn't that message to those who want to game the system and those who want to defraud the system? Isn't the message as the SEC is not the cop on the beat that even the new chair wants it to be?
Do I want more bodies to do more? Yes. Is the message that somehow we're asleep at the switch? Absolutely not.
And with your budget that's coming out, our understanding is the budget, I hope the freeze is lifted. I hope the budget is enough. And I hope that you will speak to us and ask particularly people on the other side of the aisle for the dollars you need and the flexibility you need to put those cops on the beat.
I think I've been very straight about incremental amount of money and where I think value can be added.
Thank you.